When you're in a situation in French where in English you would use the word about, there is more than one possibility for which word to use in French. It all depends on the context. So that's why in today's video, we're going to look at some of the most common and some of the most interesting contexts in which you could use about and how you could translate those into French so that you can keep on progressing. So if you're ready, allez, c'est parti. Welcome back to the channel tout le monde. If you're new here, je m'appelle Alex and I teach you the everyday French spoken every single day here in France, but from an English speaker's perspective. Click on that big red subscribe button down below to make sure you don't miss out on any of the goings on here at French in Plain Sight. Alors, tout d'abord, about can be used in many different contexts in English, so of course the same applies to French. And it's not reasonable to expect French to have one word that is always used when about would be used in English. So of course we need to look at examples in context. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's break them down into different scenarios. Now, just like in English, there are many different ways of saying one particular thing, and the same is in French. So although I'm going to break these down and tell you about one or two ways to say what you want to say, expect that that can be quite fluid and you may encounter different ways French people say the same thing. But when I think about describing something, then I think about two particular ways. We can say à propos de, and simply sur. If I want to describe a film or a book, then I would use à propos de. Par exemple, the film is about a couple that moves to a new town. Well, in French, we would say le film est à propos d'un couple qui déménage à une nouvelle ville. Le film est à propos d'un couple qui déménage à une nouvelle ville. And remember here, de contracts to D apostrophe when followed by a vowel, which is exactly what happens here with un. So I don't need to talk to you too much about this one because I'm sure you can imagine how you could use that for other stories, books, more films, TV shows, documents, technical documents, websites, things like that. One that I got from my trusty translator Reverso is j'écris à propos de ma vie. J'écris à propos de ma vie. I'm writing about my life, or I write about my life if you're talking about a habitual action. You're describing something, you're recounting something. One extremely common place that you will see à propos de is on French websites or websites with a French language version. You'll see on the About page. The About page is called à propos de nous or à propos de moi, and one great example of this is my website frenchinplainsight.com. You can see on the About page, even though the menu is in English, the top of the page when you access it is à propos de nous. À propos de nous. And I also mentioned that we can use sur, where in English we might use about. One great example of this is to ask about more information about something or on something, which makes it easier to understand why it's sur in French. So maybe you're going to ask for more information about a job that you've seen advertised quite recently. You would maybe ask, est-ce que vous pouvez me donner plus de renseignements sur l'offre d'emploi, s'il vous plaît? Est-ce que vous pouvez me donner plus de renseignements sur l'offre d'emploi, s'il vous plaît? And as you could tell from the English example, we would use about in this situation. However, you could maybe ask for more information on the job, and that makes it far easier to comprehend and to understand why the French use sur. But remember that French and English are two separate languages, so if, for example, you find that when you use sur, we use on in English, then just think of it as a happy coincidence rather than seeing the times when that doesn't happen as an annoyance. Similarly to asking for renseignement sur quelque chose, you can use the verb se renseigner to talk about learning something or to talk about informing yourself about something. I started to inform myself, or I started to learn about the world record holder. J'ai commencé à me renseigner sur le détenteur du record mondial. J'ai commencé à me renseigner sur le détenteur du record mondial. This one is fairly obvious, but we talk about something in English. We talk about something or someone. So in French, this is even easier than à propos de. It's just simply de. De. So if we want to use the verb parler, parler, we say je parle de quelque chose ou je parle de quelqu'un. Je parle de ce qui s'est passé hier. Je parle de ce qui s'est passé hier. I'm talking about what happened yesterday. Il parle de partir en vacances. Il parle de partir en vacances. They're talking about going on holiday. And this is a good example of where you use parler de plus a verb. Il parle de partir en vacances. And one final example in a more complex tense, that might be elle aura fini de parler de sa famille. Elle aura fini de parler de sa famille. She will have finished speaking about her family. And how can we talk about speaking about something without talking about thinking about something? Because hopefully most of us think before we speak, right? As I'm sure you've already heard me talk about on the channel, penser can be used with de or à or no preposition at all. Well, when you want to use it with de, it can be translated to about, and it is used when you're asking someone's opinion on something. Qu'est-ce que tu penses de mes lunettes? Qu'est-ce que tu penses de mes lunettes? What do you think about my glasses? I'm sure you got that one from the example. Vous pensez quoi de partir en vacances? Vous pensez quoi de partir en vacances? A very informal way of saying, what do you think about going on holiday? You're asking their opinion about what they think about going on holiday. Another way of saying this, but with dire instead of penser, which is quite common in French, and to use the inverted question form, so you've seen all three forms of question, you could say, que dites-vous de partir en vacances? Que dites-vous de partir en vacances? What do you say about, or what do you say to going away on holiday? See, depending on how you ask it, de could be about or it could be to, in this case, in English. And so, penser de is when you ask about someone's opinion. Penser à, which I won't go into too deeply because I've already done a video all about penser à, which I'll link down below and in the top right-hand corner. Penser à is used to talk about thinking about someone or about something with a bit more emotion. And in English, we could say think about or think of, you know, and we'd have the same meaning. So, je pense à toi. Je pense à mes vacances. I'm thinking of you, I'm thinking about you fondly, with emotion. This is a really cool little construction that you can use in French, and you'll really feel like you're getting a good grasp on the native level language when you pick it up. So I'm really happy to be telling you about it today. In English, you might ask the question, how about we, or how about you, or how about I do this, or do that, or go there, or meet you there. How about I meet you there, for example? Now, as you can see, this uses about in English, and you could also ask it in English as what if I, or what if you. You know, it would often mean the same thing, but one way we could choose to say it is how about. But it includes the word about, and that's why we're talking about it right now. Well, how would you say this sort of thing in French? Well, they use this structure. They go et, si, then the subject, and then the verb in the imparfait or the imperfect past tense, and then the rest of the sentence or the event or the action that they're talking about. And it's used as a question, just like in English. And a couple of examples might be, et si tu mettais ça là-bas? Et si tu mettais ça là-bas? How about you put that over there? How about you put that over there? Et si on se retrouvait au bar? Et si on se retrouvait au bar? How about we meet at the bar? How about we meet at the bar? And se retrouver is a great example verb to end this list on because it was one that I learned on my first or second night in Paris nearly 5 years ago when I arrived in France, that I quickly learned was indispensable to speaking the French that the French speak themselves. It's so useful that I've included it in my special new video on 12 so-called nuggets of unmissable everyday French. To get your hands on a copy, or maybe your eyes is a better way to put it, head over to my website, a link to which is down in the description below. Fill in your details to sign up to the newsletter and you'll receive a link straight away to your inbox. This isn't just a selfish plug to get you to sign up to my newsletter. If you wish, you could sign up, get the link and then unsubscribe straight away. But I do urge you to stay subscribed because I send out useful information on the channel, what we've covered, what you may have missed and what is to come, as well as ask you questions as one of my core fans as part of the monthly newsletter. And just finally, the suggestion for the topic of today's video came from Ella over on Instagram. Merci beaucoup for that, Ella. So if you liked Ella's suggestion and you found this video useful, click the hell out of that like button. Don't forget, you can always suggest me new topics for future videos down in the comments below. If you're new around here, click on that big red subscribe button to make sure you stay up to date with everything else that's coming in the future on French in Plain Sight. But until next time, merci beaucoup d'avoir regardé. À la prochaine. Ciao.